My name is Tristan Wildey. I'm 25 years old, and I like to buy, sell, trade oddities and knickknacks and such. Rose Bowl's like my main swap meet that I go to right now. I've done like the Alameda Point Antiques Fair. I used to do that one pretty frequently, and then sometimes I do like pop-ups and stuff in Slow. I feel like I've always liked junk. I've always liked stuff like since I was a little kid. I've always like collected something, or like my parents and stuff aren't into it at all, which is kind of weird because like a lot of people that are into like that I know that are younger that are into like antiques or whatever else, they're like, oh yeah, my parents are really into it or got me into it. And my parents have never been into it. It was just kind of like I was always like, oh, I like old stuff. I like pop culture stuff a lot and like trippy fantasy type stuff. There's something that I'll be into collecting or into like finding or like learning about, and I'll kind of obsess on it for a little bit. Like I have like a bunch of random like little wizard statues and stuff, and I like to think that like 70s, 80s Dungeons and Dragons custom van mushrooms kind of thing is, yeah, I like that aesthetic. A lot of people say like, you know, that like people that are into this have like an eye for it, I guess. There's been lots of times where I've like seen something and been like, oh, that's kind of weird. So I just end up buying it or like picking it up or whatever just because I think it's interesting. This is kind of I'll grab this. This is kind of interesting. This is I don't want to get canceled for showing this, so I'll cover the little symbol. But this is a German World War II dagger, and it was like really common in World War II if you like served to like take a trophy of like a enemy soldier or whatever. But my grandparents bought a house from a guy that was a like an American World War II veteran, and they were remodeling the house, and they were tearing down a wall in the house, and they found this German military knife dagger built inside of the wall. Wouldn't sell it, obviously, but just something that's kind of unique, I guess, and has a unique story. I mostly sell clothes. Don't tell the Rose Bowl that, because I'm supposed to be selling more antiques than clothes in this section. But I bring antiques too. Today I brought some wrought iron yard stuff and a wicker shelf. But yeah, as for clothes, you know, mostly t-shirts, Carhartt pants, Levi's, funky jackets, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I normally walk around and see if there's anything I want to buy that people are pulling out of their cars. And then I set up till about 5:30 or 6 and get everything kind of situated, and then people start coming in at 6. The like vintage type thing, like the vintage clothes thing, that world right now is like huge. Is kind of merging more with like mainstream and like high-end fashion. It's like there's a lot more interest in vintage among all of these things, all of these like more highly regarded worlds of fashion.
Yeah, people fly out from Japan, and there's people that have like stores in other countries and stuff. Like I know a guy that has a store in Malaysia, and he just like goes to swap meets, like the big swap meets, and buys a bunch of stuff and fills up like pallets, and then ships it back in pallets to be sold at like American vintage stores in Malaysia. So yeah, it's like big deal, I guess, to some people.
I guess it's kind of exciting. The feeling of bartering is exciting.
These are both from over here.
Yeah.
It's like a gentleman's arm wrestle.
$10 for both. $5 each. So $1.90.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I go back and forth on whether it's good that the line is being blended between mainstream fashion and the vintage world, because the more that happens, the more there's like big businesses and stuff, like Urban Outfitters and whatever, and Shein and all these like fast fashion type companies that are like, oh, people are interested in vintage style fashion. Let's basically rip that off and make a unethical, like cheap version of it that's more easily marketable, It's definitely, even since I've been into it, it's grown substantially. Trends change and people are into different things or different styles, but I feel like there's always antique people.